one is referring to the business transaction. Okay, class, this present obligation, there are two types of obligation. Okay, yang ni, obligation ni, there are two types of obligation. The first one is legal and second one is constructive obligation. So legal obligation is an obligation required by law. So if it is stated in the law of the country that you have to do certain things to ensure that safety towards the employees, okay, employee safety ataupun to employee safety ataupun towards environment, okay, towards environment, then you have to incur the cost because it is a legal obligation. All right. However, if it is not stated in law, it is not stated by law, it might be an obligation that comes from an entity's past action. Past action. Past action. Okay. There must be something that the company have done and they respond that way. So they're using that past action as a past action as an expectation to the new issues coming in. For example, okay, for example, there is also this examples is available in your appendix C. Okay, dia cakap apa? There are this company, one company operate in a company with law, and another company they operate with the same company operate in different country without law. Okay, we are talking about the same company operating in a company there is a law and another one without law. So can you make a provision yang the first one ni memanglah you have to make provision because there is a legal obligation, and another case ni in different situation, can the company make a provision? Jawapan dia yes juga walaupun there is no law in that country. Why? Because in the past the practice is, even though the practice is the company will react that way. Okay, the company will react that way. Maksudnya dia secure the environment. So they are expected to secure the environment even in a situation even in a country without that law. Okay, boleh eh? That is constructive obligation. So tak habis lagi discussion on constructive obligation. So we have this example where a retail store has a policy of refunding purchases by dissatisfied customers. Okay, dissatisfied customer, even though it is under no obligation to do so. No obligation to do so. But it is the company itself who come up with this policy. Dia yang nak refund. Okay, tak ada siapa-siapa suruh. It is not required by law. Government tak kata apa. Okay, dia yang memang sendiri nak. Okay, why they are willing to do so by themselves is to increase their sales because it will increase the customers' confidence, kan? Okay, potential customer lah, barulah customer buy their product. Okay, so its policy of making refunds is well known. When the company have a policy and it is well known, it creates a valid expectation. Okay, valid expectation meaning customer will have an expectation that they will get refund, they will be refunded if they are dissatisfied. Okay, because the company have the policy and it is well known. Well known ni maksudnya dia publish lah, the company publish this policy, bukan dia simpan je within their management, within their company, tak. It is published to the customers. Number two, this one, okay. Should a provision be made at the year end under this situation? So when the policy is known, kalau ada policy tapi does not make it well known, maksudnya there is no valid expectation, so tak boleh lah buat provision. Okay, nak buat provision, to make a provision under a constructive obligation, first inilah this policy must made known. It must be communicated. The plan must be communicated. Because when after you communicate the policy, then only you have the valid expectation. These are the things that need to be satisfied before a company decided to make a provision on this, on warranty. Okay, number 2, there is a constructive obligation. It is probable some refunds will be made. This is the keyword probable outflow. Okay, probable outflow, and it can be measured reliably, then only you can make a provision. Okay, bila I dah go through ini pun sebenarnya we already touch on recognition criteria. Okay, recognition criteria. Maksudnya what are the 3 conditions need to be met before a company can ataupun allowed to make a provision. Barulah if they meet all these 3 requirements, 3 criteria, then only baru dia boleh debit expenses, credit provision. Okay, so when we talk about provision, dia uncertain apa tadi? Uncertain amount and timing. So how to measure these provisions? Okay, how to measure measuring provisions? The amount recognized as a provision should be a realistic estimate, a prudent estimate. Prudent apa kelas? Prudent macam mana? Kalau expenses cepat je kita recognize, tapi kalau revenue kita lambat-lambat tunggu confirm, sebab we are talking about uncertainty. There are levels of uncertainties, betul tak? Probability, kita dah go through all 4. Kita start dengan certain. Secondly, probable. Third, possible. Number 4, remote. And in terms of number, ini last slide ni kan. Last slide you ada tu. Kalau certain 100%, kalau probable more than 50% chances or likelihood, and then possible less than 50%, remote apa 5% kan, less than 5% chances. Okay, chances of what? Inflow ke outflow? We have 2 separate columns. Kan ada kat bawah tu kan, table on accounting treatment. Okay, discounted where the effect of this is material. Yang ni discounted if it is more than 1 year. Kan? Okay, kalau future payment tu is only within 2, 3, 6 months tu you tak ada, the discount value is not material. But if it is more than 1 year, then adalah value. Betul tak? Okay, present value will be different compared to future value. Ya, sebab yang if you are making a warranty and it is valid for more than 1 year, then adalah this discount value is material. Boleh faham? Boleh eh? Okay. Methods of measuring uncertainties. Okay, again there is a certainty in terms of timing and amount, and then macam mana kita nak measure uncertainty? Sebab kita boleh ni, yes we can make a provision, but at what amount? Berapa? Kan? Okay, so the methods allowed under the standard is weighting the cost of all probable outcomes. Okay, all outcomes we are taking into account and kita calculate. Okay, according to their probabilities. Okay, it is also known as expected value method. Another method is to by considering a range of possible outcomes. Okay, macam mana nak calculate under expected values class? An entity sells good under a warranty. Under the warranty, customers are covered for the cost of any defects that are discovered within the first 2 months after purchase. Okay, cost of defects. So in this scenario, the cost will be different. Okay, ada major minor defect and other major defect. Okay, so kalau minor defect, it only cost you 24,000. Kalau major defect, it will cost you up to 200,000. Okay, so kita nak buat provision based on which cost? 24 ke 200? Okay, so under expected value, we are taking into account both situation. Okay, by looking at the probabilities, right? By looking at the probabilities. So as you can see, 88 plus 7 plus 5, 88 plus 7 plus 5 ni akan jadi 100% kan? Okay, yang mana yang akan give you result to cost is only 7 and 5. Okay. So under expected value, sebab dia tanya what is the amount of provision that should be made. So we are taking into account the 2 outcomes of 24 and 200 and multiply it by the chances. Okay, and as you can see, bila plus kat sini, we are taking into account both Dia sebab dia plus kan, taking into accounts both situation, both outcomes. So the repair cost tadi bukan 24, bukan 20. It is 11,680. Right, this one, you do not have the percentage. But what you have is the most likely outcome. This is your keyword. Ini keyword you Okay, most likely outcome is that the repair will succeed at the first attempt at a cost of 400, but there is a significant chance that this is another keyword, significant chance, okay, of 500. So what amount of provision should be made? So 400 ke 500? This is under best estimate. Okay, under expected value kita ambil dua-dua. Okay, but for best estimate, we have to choose. Okay, you will choose 500. Why 500? The first one is because of prudence concept, and secondly, and although the reason because this significant chance makes 500 the best estimate. Sebab dua-dua wording ni, as you can see, most likely outcome. Most likely outcome pun dah tunjuk that will be the most probability to happen is under 400 kan. Okay, and then you have another keyword here, significant chance, and then using prudence concept you will choose this 500,000. Right, any questions so far? Tak ada ya? Okay, in terms of recognition. Okay, maksudnya nak debit apa, credit apa. A provision should be recognized as a liability, meaning you akan credit liability. Debit apa kelas? Debit apa?
Expenses.
Yes, debit expenses. There is another reason, there is another account that can be debited. Apa dia? You boleh juga debit.
Provision.
Mana boleh debit provision?
Income.
Liability ni lah provision, bukan income. Kenapa you debit income? Debit expenses or debit asset. Kita baru je buat right of use asset class. Right of use asset, ingat ke tak? Kita plus apa? Bila kita plus tu, what is our journal entry? Debit right of use asset, credit. Yang last kali tu, provision for dismantling and removing cost. Yang tu lah. Okay, yang tu yang kita debit asset tu, debit right of use asset kan? Okay, alright. This treatment is known as capitalized provision. Capitalized provision. Okay, capitalized provision. Okay, so what are the situation? What are the criteria need to be satisfied before the management can decide that okay, kita boleh credit provision. These are the 3 recognition criteria. Okay, so provision is management judgment. It is management judgment to decide whether or not they want to. Sebab bila you debit expenses, what happened? Reduce in profit. Then what happened? Reduce in tax. Macam itulah. Okay. So whether or not to make a provision is based on management judgment to decide whether there is a present obligation, okay, as a result of past event. These 3 criteria ni must be satisfied. Barulah you boleh credit provision. Okay. It is probable. We are talking about outflow of resources required. We are talking about outflow of economic benefits. Okay, kalau dia probable, meaning the likelihood is more than 50% chances of outflow. Kenapa outflow? Because this is the settlement to settle the obligation. Okay, then if it is probable, then it is satisfied lah. Second criteria satisfied. Number 3, there is a reliable estimate. Maksudnya figures tu you nak tiba-tiba nak letak 1 million, boleh ke? There is must be a basis of measurement and it must be justified to auditors lah. Okay, auditors yang verify your account, the company's account. Okay. Ini estimates are a matter of judgment by management. If this amount is material, then you can present to the auditors. Then only they can verify that the company is applying the rules correctly. Okay. Question? You all macam dah hilang fokus ni, kenapa? Okay, okay. Right. Dah macam-macam yang nampak ni, senyum-senyum lah, apalah. Macam ada video lain pula. Alright, never mind. Okay. In which of the following situation might a provision be recognized? So this one dia nak tengok on these 3 recognition criteria lah. If they satisfy these 3, then only you can make a provision. The first one, on 13/12, the board of company decided to close down a division. The accounting year end is 31st December. So bila provision ni, this is year end adjustment. Bila nak close account, barulah kita nak check, oh, what are the things that need to be adjusted. Macam depreciation itu year end lah. Okay. Yang betul-betul berlaku within throughout the year tu, kalau there is a business transaction, contohnya yang ada cash flow, okay, yang ada invoice, yang tu yes. Okay, but for depreciation, macam provision, these are examples of year-end adjustment. Yang ni yang biasa company sibuk nak buat before they close down the account. These are the areas where they can decide what they want to be on the face of financial statement. Okay, management judgment kan? Right. So bila ni, they decide nak close down the division? 13 31st nak close is the year end. So before the accounting year end, the decision was not communicated. Decision not communicated, class. Bila not communicated, there is an obligation tadi. There are 2 types kan? Do they have to close down the division due to, is it required by law? Do the law require the company to close down division? Kalau required by law, dia akan jadi legal obligation. But in this case, adalah cerita pula pasal law suruh dia tutup the division and close down division. So, dia falls under second types, which is constructive obligation. Constructive ni pula, okay, dia kena tengok whether or not there is a valid expectation. Macam mana nak tahu there is a valid expectation? Okay, you tengoklah whether this decision have been communicated to the affected parties. Dia kata not communicated, so there is no valid expectation. Okay, besides that, dah tak communicate, then there is no detailed plan. Tak ada, no other steps. Not yet lah. Okay, 13 ke 21 ni. Okay, no other steps were taken to implement the decision. In other words, the plan for closure. Right? So can you make at 31st December ni boleh tak buat provision? The answer is no. Okay, the decision has not yet been communicated. Therefore, no present obligation. Yang ni yang sebenarnya, this one yang affect your decision whether or not you can make a provision. The first one, obligation tu. Is there any legal obligation? Tak ada pula. Under constructive, there is if there is a constructive obligation, kalau valid expectation, there is a valid expectation, then that is the past event lah. Okay, in this scenario not communicated, then tak ada past event, so there is no present obligation. Right? Okay, example number 2. The board agreed to a detailed closure plan. Yang sama kan, yang sambung daripada atas. Okay, dia nak close and on 20th dia dah come up with the closure plan. Okay, and a detail were given to employees. In other words, this has been communicated to the affected parties. They are the customers and employees. All right. So, can the company make a provision at year end, 31st December? The answer is yes, they can make a provision. So, but there is a valid expectation lah. Okay. Number 3, a company is obliged to pay for cleanup costs for environmental damage that has already been incurred. Right, past event ada. Probable, kita assume ada lah, can be measured reliably. Okay, so since there is a past event, adalah present obligation. Tinggal lagi obligation under this scenario, kita tak sure whether it is legal obligation or constructive obligation. Just make it general, just cakap ada present obligation, that would be enough. Okay, yang paling penting kita nak tengok you come up with whether you can make a provision or not. In this situation, kenapa you boleh buat provision, class? Because there is a past event. Okay, in this situation, because there is a past event, okay, which result to present obligation. Number 4, a company intends to carry out future expenditure to operate in a particular way in the future. Kalau future expenditure, future operating loss, future anything future lah, no, you cannot make a provision. Okay, why? Because this can be avoided. Okay, how it can be avoided? By change in this situation, by changing the method of operation. All right, so you can avoid. It is within the company's control to avoid this cost. So boleh avoid. So you cannot make a provision for it. Okay, number 5. Am I too fast? Boleh follow? Boleh kan? Okay. We sell goods with warranty. Under the warranty, customers are covered for the cost of repairs of any manufacturing defect within the first 6 months of purchase, the company's past experience and future expectation. This is to help the company. Dia bagi info untuk bagi tahu regarding reliable estimate. Reliable estimate, whether it is reliably estimate. Okay, reliably measured. Okay, sebab the 3 recognition criteria number 3 tu kan reliably estimate kan. Okay, they are based on past experience and future expectation. Okay, so how to measure ataupun how much, what amount can be will be provided as allowance for warranty. Okay, yang ni guna apa? Expected value lah. Right, as you can see, they are taking all 3 possibility. Tinggal lagi, bila you ambil 75% ni with no defects, dia akan jadi multiply by 0, dia akan dapat 0 kan? Any numbers multiplied by 0, dia akan dapat 0. So there is no effect. Ada ke tak ada ke sini ke? It brings no changes, no effect. Okay, yang kat sini you nampak ada 3. Okay, sama macam yang example tadi, 7 dengan 5 tadi, the same example. Okay, so yang kat atas tadi kalau you nak include 88% times 0 pun it's up to you lah. Asalkan you faham, you are taking all possible outcomes, number 1. Okay, number 2 is after you multiply by 0 cost, it will become 0. No value, no changes to the final result. Okay, so the cost is found using expected value is 400. So this is the amount to be provided for warranty ataupun cost of repair. Okay, since we are talking about uncertainty, uncertain amount and uncertain timing. Okay, you are making provision and then you tak tahu bila dia nak claim. Diorang claim atau tidak. Okay, diorang claim at what amount. Kan? Right? So if there is a changes in provision, you must make the changes. Okay, the review on this provision should be made annually, reviewed at the end of each reporting period. Okay, make it annual review, and it must be adjusted if necessary. Okay, when it is necessary. The first one, if it is no longer probable. Because at the first place, we are making provision because ada probable outflow kan. Kalau dah tak probable, you kenalah reverse. If it is no longer probable, then you have to reverse. Sebab kelas, liability ni macam mana kelas? Once you credit to liability, it will stay there forever. Sebab SOFP kan? Asset, liability, equity, bila you dah masuk SOFP, discrete elements, dibawa ke tahun depan. Bawa ke tahun depan, ke tahun depan. Okay, it carries to the future. Carries to the future kan? So that's why you have to assess this, the provision that you have made that is available in the account. If it is no longer probable, then you have to reverse. So bila reverse ni, when we make a provision, okay, when we make a provision, kita credit provision. So bila kita buat reversal, mestilah kita debit provision. Okay, so credit ni, credit apa? Okay, ini akan tulis reversal on provision of, ni apa, warranty. Kalau warranty lah. Okay, dia akan masuk kat mana? Ada pada income. Okay, dia akan masuk kat ada income. Right. Next one. Okay, any future expenditure including future losses. Okay, macam when the company decided to close down the division. Kan, close down division. So mungkin ada future operating losses. However, this cannot be, you cannot include these future operating losses for closing down the division. Yang you boleh buat provision hanya kalau you kena bayar apa pampasan tu, tak ingat what is the word, okay, pada you punya employees, right? Okay, ataupun related expenditure as cost need to be incurred by the company by closing down the division tadi. Okay, provision should not be recognized for future operating losses. In other words, you tak boleh lah credit provision for, and you nak debit apa tadi? Nak debit operating loss, tak boleh tak boleh. You cannot make a provision for operating losses because they do not meet the definition of liability. Go back to the definition of liability. Dia kata apa? Present obligation. Now, you have the obligation now. And it is as a result of past event. Macam future operating losses ni, tak ada past event. Apatah lagi, tak ada present obligation. There is no obligation. Okay, so that's why you cannot make a provision for this kind of losses ataupun this kind of expenditure. Any future, sama macam major repairs. Okay, maksudnya for your vehicles. You know, in future, after certain kilometers, you are scheduled for repair and maintenance. Untuk hantar servis, kan? Next year katalah major service, so banyaklah amount dia you nak make a provision. No, you cannot make. You cannot make the provision for future expenditure. Pegang tu. Okay, walaupun you tahu you have this asset, and next year you memang have to do the major service. However, the nature of future expenditure ni, it can be avoided. Okay, it can be avoided. That's why kita tak boleh buat provision on this future expenditure. Right. So these are the examples of possible provisions. Okay, kita ada warranty, kita ada major repairs. Okay, warranties, these are the genuine provision. Okay, because this provision on warranty is based on past experience. Memang kalau ada jual, ada orang yang akan complain, and then how to compensate them is by giving inilah sama ada return ataupun dia refund, kan? Okay, tak adalah orang marah tu akan, sebab the impact will be huge, negative impact to the company, kan? Okay, so it is probable that some claims will emerge. Okay, so you can make a provision for warranties. Whereas for major repairs, okay, Bila dia cakap in the past, some companies used to provide for expenditure on repairs cost. This is in the past. But now, under the standard IS 37, this is no longer possible. It has been stated clearly in the standard that you cannot make a provision for future expenditure. Okay. And again, if the plans are only intention and not a legal obligation, this intention ni again it is in future. Kan? Dia belum repair lagi. Maksudnya past event tu maksudnya dia dah repair lah. Dah repair ke belum repair ni belum repair kan. So there is no past event. There is no present obligation. Sudahnya tak bolehlah buat provision. Okay, next one is environmental contamination. So if the company has broken current environmental legislation, has broken maksudnya dia dah contaminate lah, they contaminate the area, okay, then a provision for environmental damage must be made. Sebab past event dia apa? They contaminate the area. That is dia punya past event. So bila ada past event adalah present obligation to for clean up cost yang tu yang dia boleh buat provision. Okay. Number 4, decommissioning cost. Decommissioning cost is also known as removing and dismantling cost kan. Okay. Right. So when an oil company purchases an oil field, it has a legal obligation to decommission the site at the end of its life. So these decommissioning costs at the end of its operation, at the end of the plant life, okay, it will incur cost, and this cost will be incurred ataupun will be used up at the end of business operation. Maksudnya in future nantilah 5-10 years nanti barulah dia nak use this cost. But they know, okay, because it is required by law. Okay, past event dia apa? Past event dia adalah dia dah bina. Dia dah bina, kalau oil field ni it is referring to oil rich. Kan? So kalau dia dah bina oil rich ni, dia mestilah restore the site to its original, to its original lah. Make it apa word dia cari, back to the nature lah. Okay, you have to dismantle and restore. Yang kalau nak clean up, kena clean up, and then leave the oil field. Okay, so these costs at the beginning of when there is an initial measurement on oil rich ni, dia dah boleh masukkan oil rich ni plant kan, this plant is asset kan. Okay, this asset ni you dah boleh debit asset, debit plant tadi, credit provision for decommissioning. Okay, sama macam cerita kita buat last week, right of use asset, kita plus removing and dismantling tu. Okay, what is the double entry? Debit asset kan, credit provision kan, yang itulah yang dinamakan capitalized provision. Okay, capitalized provision. Kalau dia tak bina lagi the oil rich, maksudnya tak ada past event lah. Okay, tak ada past event dan tak payahlah buat provision. Okay. Okay. Next, contingent liability. Okay, next, contingent liability. So just now kita discuss on provision kan? Provision. Now we move on to contingent liability because the accounting treatment would be different. Kenapa? Okay, by looking at the definition itself, sebenarnya all the definition is referring to the definition of contingent liability is referring to the recognition criteria. Recognition criteria yang 3 tadi. Okay, the first one is present obligation. Number 2, probable outflow. Number 3, reliable estimate. Okay. Kalau yes, 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 dia akan jadi provision. Kalau one of it, okay, contingent liability, obligation. Tengok dia cakap present ke? No, they are using the word possible. Because at year end, dia masih tak sure lagi whether they have the obligation at year end. Bila nak close account ni, tak confirm lagi whether they have this, whether the obligation are present at the moment, at that date, at that date. Okay. And to ensure ataupun to know whether they are liable or not will depends on the future events. So this one kita referring, you imagine masuk court case. Okay, memang kita dah jual produk pada customer, tapi sekarang customer they are incurring losses and they blame the company lah. Okay, so company kata, okay, memang there is a business transaction with this company, tetapi adakah the losses is due to our product? Okay, itu sebab dia kata past event ada, business transaction ada. Okay, tapi untuk to decide whether they are responsible on the customer's loss of revenue, for example, yang tu kena need a further investigation. Investigated by whom? Kalau biasa yang ni, kes sama-sama ni masuk court lah. Okay, so the existence of obligation ni will only be confirmed by the occurrence or non-occurrence of an uncertain future events. Okay, uncertain future events, this is happening during court case lah. Okay, legal advisor, the lawyer lah ni yang akan fight and they will come up with evidence lah, they will use their laws. And then, as you can see, and not wholly within the entity's control. Company tak boleh buat apa, kena tunggu the court to decide. Okay. Right. So for the first definition, dia cakap it is about obligation ini. Okay. So if one of the criteria are not met, you tengok dia akan jadi apa? From provision, dia akan jadi contingent liability. Alright. Okay. Number 2, a present obligation. Okay, settle obligation dah present, meaning they have the obligation now at year end. Okay. But it is not recognized meaning not recognized as a provision, okay, because it is not probable. So we are talking about probability of outflow ni dia jadi not probable. Okay, so bila not probable, tak boleh lah make a provision. Okay, because it is not probable that the transfer of economic benefit will be required to settle the obligation, or ataupun katalah dia probable outflow. Tapi tak ada pula or the amount of obligation cannot be measured pula. Okay, so if one of it is not satisfied, then you cannot make a provision. It falls under contingent liability. And the accounting treatment for contingent liability apa dia kelas? Buat apa? You disclose in notes to the account. Not that simple kan? Kena assess dia punya likelihood kan, betul tak? Ya ke? Okay lah, I terus zoom dekat table. Sebab you macam... Okay, so contingent liability is referring to this part. Okay, kalau possible, baru you disclose by note ni, disclose as contingent liability. Yang ni. This is contingent liability. Okay, sebab dia kata not probable. Okay, bila not probable, dia jatuh kat dua ni lah. Alright. However, contingent liability ni, sorry, if the outflow is remote, dia terus langsung tak ada. Do nothing. No disclosure. Even there is no disclosure in notes to the accounts kan. Tak payah disclose apa-apa. Okay. Outflow, kalau possible, then disclose as notes to the accounts. Okay, this example, company A is suing company B because it believed that it has incurred losses as a result of company B's faulty products. Okay, A sue B. So seller dia B lah sebenarnya, buyer dia A kan. Okay. Company B may be liable for damages. You can see the wording may be. Okay. May be liable for damages. Damages apa ni? Dia incurred losses. Alright. Whether or not the damages will actually be paid is depends on the outcome of the case. Okay, the judge have to decide whether company B is liable. Right? So bila A sue company B, outflow kat mana kelas? Yang kena bayar siapa? B.
B.
Yang akan dapat duit?
A.
A. Okay, inflow untuk A. So yang ni akan refer kepada contingent liability. Yang ni akan refer as contingent asset. Okay, so until the outcome is known, company B has a contingent liability and company A has a contingent asset. Okay, another 10 minutes. Accounting treatment. Okay, accounting treatment for contingent liability. Yang ini sebenarnya lagi mudah nak faham kalau you tengok table bawah tadi. Okay, a contingent liability should not be recognized, meaning you cannot credit contingent liability, tak ada. Okay, it should not be recognized in the financial statement, but it should be disclosed. Disclose kat mana? Not in financial statement. In other words, not in Soci Sopi Soce dengan Soci E tak ada, cash flow pun tak ada. Only disclose in notes to the accounts. Okay. Unless the possibility of transfer of economic benefits ataupun unless the possibility of outflow is remote, itu tak payah disclose lah, do nothing. Right? Okay, what need to be disclosed in notes to the accounts? These are the things needs to be disclosed in notes to the account. Okay, these are the guidance listed ataupun included in the standard IAS 37. They dah mention these are the minimum information need to be included in the notes to the accounts. Kenapa ada guides? Ada guidance on what need to be disclosed. Kenapa? Because the standard is to enable the readers of financial statements. Who are the reader of financial statements? Shareholder kan? Okay, shareholder nak tahu. Okay, so managers, dia kenalah disclose this information. Okay, so kalau standard tak mention, nanti they might under disclose. Kan? Okay, they decide what to disclose pula. Okay, so as long as we have guidance, we have accounting standard, then they are doing, if they are doing, itu yang ada auditors to verify tu. Okay, dia nak verify pun they have guidance. Okay, what are the guideline. Okay, guideline in what need to be disclosed. Okay, so that is accounting treatment for contingent liability. Okay, what is a contingent asset? Possible asset arising from past event. Okay, probability ada 4 kan? Ada certain, ada probable, ada possible, ada remote. Yang kat mana yang akan jadi contingent asset? Yang ni akan jadi asset. Probable. Kalau probable inflow, yang ni akan disclose. Disclose as contingent asset. Bila dia cakap disclose tu maksudnya disclose as contingent assets pada inflow. Okay. Kalau possible, do nothing. Remote pun do nothing. Okay, you can relate to company A and company B tadi, because you have to wait on a court decision. Okay. Right, this one, accounting treatment for contingent asset. So kalau asset memang you nampak inflow lah, right? So if inflow is certain, then the asset is not contingent and it should be recognized in financial statement, debit asset. Okay, debit asset lah, not contingent. All right. Number 2, if the inflow of benefit is probable, then no asset is recognized in the financial statement but disclosure are required. Again, no asset. Tak adalah debit contingent asset, tak ada. Okay, you hanya disclose in notes to the accounts. Right? Disclosure include a brief description of its nature and financial effect. So bila nak disclose tu apa yang nak kena disclose? These are the things, brief description and the financial effect. Next one, if the probability of outflow is not probable. Not probable ni dua lah kan? Okay, which is possible and remote tadi. Alright, so what will you do? The accounting treatment is no asset and no disclosure. In other words, do nothing. Okay, ini summarize in table. Okay, so liability is representing the outflow. Asset, inflow. Okay, siapa saman siapa? Okay, kalau A saman B, terbalik. Kan, terbalik kan? Okay, kalau A saman B, A saman B, B yang akan outflow. Okay, A yang akan inflow. Right. So, lagi ya. Right. Your homework. 5 minit lagi. Homework is for you to read all the examples in Appendix C. Okay, Appendix C ni dia memang original daripada standard It is originally taken from IAS 37. Okay. So memang standard tu adalah guidelines untuk preparers accounts preparer. Okay, guidelines for them in the preparation of financial statements. Right. So again, topic provision, it is a management judgment to decide on these 3 things on the recognition criteria. All right, to decide what is the accounting treatment. Okay, management judgment. Right. This homework requires you to read and try to understand. Sebab all the situation given ni is for you to decide on whether you can make a provision or not. And then again, they akan go through the 3 recognition criteria. Present obligation, probability of outflow. Mana pula pen? Ni kat sini. Present obligation, probability of outflow. And reliable estimate. Tak nampak kat sini. You baca. Your homework. Okay. Any question? Penat dah ke? Tak penat. Alright. Okay. So that's all for today. Semua dah submit attendance? Dah, Alhamdulillah. Okay, kita sudahi dengan tasbih kafarah surah Al-As. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Okay, class, thank you very much. See you.
Thank you, madam.